In the summer of 1944, as the dust of Normandy settled over shattered villages and blackened fields, a name began to ripple through the ranks of the U.S. Army: Lafayette G. Poole. He was known by many nicknames: War Daddy, the American Panzer, the one-man armored division. But to the men who served beside him, he was something simpler: the man who always brought them home. Long before his name echoed across the battlefields of Europe, Poole's story began in the quiet fields of Odem, Texas. Born on July 23, 1919, he was the son of a farmer, raised among wheat, tractors, and the endless Texas sky. He spent his youth fixing engines, racing cars down dirt roads, and working the land from sunrise to dusk. The farm made him strong, the machines made him curious, and both taught him something vital: how to keep moving forward, no matter how rough the ground. That instinct would one day turn a Texas farm boy into the deadliest tank commander of World War II. In 1941, as the world descended into chaos, Poole answered the call of service. The Army offered him something the farm could not: a test. He enlisted in the 3rd Armored Division, Spearhead, an armored force destined to carve its name into European history. At Fort Polk, Louisiana, he trained in blistering heat and mud, learning how to move, fight, and survive inside a Sherman tank. From the start, Poole stood out. He wasn't content to follow orders blindly. He studied every move, every mistake, every weakness of man and machine. It was clear to his instructors this was no ordinary soldier. This was a natural-born commander. By the time he shipped out for England in late 1943, Poole had already formed the core of a crew that would become legendary. There was Gunner Wesley, Baby Harris, driver Willis Groundhog Ola, assistant driver Delbert Jiggs Boggs, and loader Wilbert Jr. Richards. Together, the 5 men became something like a single organism: 4 hands and a heart of steel. To outsiders, they were just another tank crew. To each other, they were brothers. Inside their Sherman, they moved as one: 4 men and a machine welded together by trust, instinct, and survival. In the summer of 1944, following D-Day, Poole and his crew landed in Normandy with their first tank, a Sherman they christened In the Mood. The terrain was brutal: thick hedgerows, ambushes, and villages turned to fortresses. But Poole's confidence never wavered. He led from the front, often taking his platoon into the fiercest fighting. His orders came quick and sharp, and his crew reacted with perfect precision. One veteran later said that Poole's voice inside the tank was like a heartbeat: steady, certain, and alive. Their first major test came near the French town of Colombier. Poole's tank led a daring charge that shattered a German defensive line. In just 15 minutes, they destroyed multiple enemy positions and armored vehicles. It was the beginning of a streak that would defy belief. Over the next 83 days, through France, Belgium, and toward the German border, Poole's crew destroyed or captured more than 250 enemy armored vehicles and self-propelled guns, 12 tanks, and took nearly 1,000 prisoners. Some later claimed he destroyed 258 tanks, a number that grew into legend. In truth, the figure included every kind of armored machine the Germans could throw at him. But the myth only underscored the truth. No other Allied tank commander ever matched his record. Poole's secret wasn't luck. It was speed. While others used the Sherman's strength, he used its agility. He fought like a boxer, fast, unpredictable, and devastating. When the Germans dug in, he flanked them. When they ambushed, he baited them into firing first, then struck before they could reload. His gunner, Baby Harris, said Poole would call out targets before anyone else even saw them. He just knew, Harris recalled. He could feel where they were. Through July and August of 1944, In the Mood became a symbol on the front lines, a tank that never seemed to die. Poole's fame spread through the 3rd Armored Division and beyond. He was the tank ace of the Western Front, though he never called himself that. For him, war wasn't about glory, it was about getting his men home. And somehow he did. In all his battles, he never lost a single crew member to enemy fire. But war has a cruel rhythm. In August, In the Mood was hit by an 88mm shell near Sayes. The crew escaped unharmed. Within days, they had a new Sherman In the Mood 2. When that tank was lost, they climbed into In the Mood the 3. Each time, they painted the name on the armor, checked the guns, and rolled forward. There was no time for fear, only the mission. By early September 1944, Poole had fought nearly non-stop since Normandy. The 3rd Armored Division was pushing deep into Belgium, chasing the retreating Wehrmacht. The Allies believed victory was near, but the Germans were far from beaten. On September 19th, near the village of Münsterbusch, Poole led his column down a narrow road. Civilians waved as the Shermans rolled past. Then a German Panther fired from concealment. The first shell struck the lead tank. The second hit In the Mood the 3, igniting the ammunition. The blast hurled Poole from the turret. His right leg was shattered. His crew survived, but their commander's war was over. He was evacuated to England, then to the United States. Surgeons amputated his leg below the knee. For a man who lived for motion and speed, it could have been the end. But Lafayette Poole refused to break. During recovery, he was haunted by dreams of the battlefield, the roar of engines, the shouts of his men, but he understood something few soldiers could. His fight had changed. After the war, Poole tried civilian life, running a gas station for a time, but the military was in his blood. He re-enlisted, this time as an instructor. Using an artificial limb, he demonstrated tank maneuvers, teaching new soldiers the tactics that had saved his crew. He never boasted about his record. When asked, he credited his men, his luck, and his faith. War, he would say, isn't about being a hero. It's about doing your job and bringing your men home. Over time, the legend of War Daddy Poole became larger than the man himself. His tactics were studied in armored warfare schools. His story inspired books, documentaries, and even Hollywood films. Yet those who met him described someone quiet, humble, and fiercely loyal to his brothers in arms. Lafayette G. Poole passed away on May 30th, 1991. At the age of 71, he was buried in his home state of Texas, surrounded by family, friends, and veterans who remembered not a legend, but a man of courage, heart, and humility. From the fields of Texas to the fields of France, Lafayette Poole proved that greatness doesn't come from glory, it comes from grit. In just 83 days of combat, he and his 4-man crew destroyed more enemy armor than some battalions did in a year. And not once did he lose a single man under his command. He was the farmer who became a warrior, the man who turned a tank into a weapon of precision and compassion. And though time has passed, his story still stands as a testament to the American fighting spirit, unyielding, determined, and forever remembered.